This week's Torah portion, Naso, is the longest in the entire Torah, primarily because of the lengthy Parshas Naso, the section about the leaders of the 12 tribes who each brought special offerings when the Mishkan was first inaugurated. The Torah teaches through the Parshas Naso that leaders also have to contribute. Too often, we see leaders of organizations who believe that their hard work for the well-being of the institution, that by their giving directives, organizing events, or speaking at gatherings and conferences, they've done their part. But that's not enough. The Torah makes it clear leaders must give, and not just give, they must be the first to give. Interestingly, when the directive was given for the Jews to donate the materials for the Mishkan, the Nesiim originally said, let everyone else donate first, and we'll top off whatever is still needed. Hashem was not pleased. Even though they eventually brought diamonds and other precious stones, their hesitation cost them. The Torah subtly criticized them by dropping a letter, Yud, from their title, Nesiim. They learned from their mistakes, so the next time an opportunity came to contribute, they stepped up first and enthusiastically. Moshe hesitated to accept their gifts at first, but Hashem forgave them and told Moshe to accept their offerings. That's why this Sedra is so long. It lists in full detail what each Nasi brought, even though their offerings were identical. You might ask, why didn't the Torah just describe what the first Nasi, Nachshon ben Aminadav, brought, and then say the rest did the same? The answer, say the commentators, is that even though the offerings were the same, each leader brought his offering with different thoughts, intentions, and meanings. Reb Chaim of Sanz, may his merit protect us in his Divrei Chaim, explains something very, very fascinating. He explains that each of the tribes had a different nusach for davening. Each version of prayer was unique and meaningful in its own way. The Arizal taught that there are 12 gates in heaven, and each is aligned with a different tribe and through which that tribe's prayers enter. It would be fascinating to know the deeper meanings behind each Nasi's offering, but Rashi only explains one, Nisano ben Suar, of the tribe of Yisachar. Rashi connects the numbers and words in his offerings to deeper meanings. For instance, Kaf Achas, 1 ladle, hints at the Torah. Asara Zahav, 10 golden pieces, hints at the Aseres HaDibros. And Mulea Ketaris, filled with incense, has the numerical value of 613, Taryag Mitzvos. So why does Rashi only explain this Nasi's offering and not all the others? And why not start with the first Nasi, Nachshon ben Aminadav? Rashi himself explains this. The tribe of Yisachar was known for its Torah scholarship. They were the ones who were the Yodei Bina Le'itim. They understood the times, and their focus on Torah gave their offering extra significance. All the Nesiim had noble intentions, but what matters most is the Torah's perspective behind the contribution. In fact, Rav Moshe Hadarshan says that it was Nisano ben Suar's Torah-driven motives that inspired the other leaders to bring their offerings. He was the influencer of his time. And that's a lesson. Every cause has value, but Torah institutions and those who lead them should always be primary, and their influence should ripple outward. I've always found it interesting that while the Torah spends 78 verses describing each leader's individual offering, it uses just one verse to describe the other gifts that the Nesiim gave. We read a few verses earlier. They brought their offerings before Hashem, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for each 2 leaders and an ox for each. Questions asked, why only 6 wagons? They could afford precious gems, but couldn't they spare a few more wagons? Each Nasi could have brought his own. And why does the Torah spell out such a simple equation, 1 wagon for every 2 leaders? Even a child could figure that out. Here's the idea. The Torah is showing us something powerful. Each Nasi was a strong, independent leader. Each tribe had its own identity, ideas, and causes, and yet they shared a wagon. They understood that despite their differences, they were all part of a larger whole. They didn't isolate themselves. No tribe could be fully independent. They had to ride together in one wagon. This is also a message to us. We all have our own goals, values, and initiatives, but we're in this journey together. Every community, organization, institution, despite their different missions, must remember we're all traveling in the same wagon, and that wagon is headed toward Yerushalayim. Shabbat Shalom.